Hey guys, I haven't shot a lot of videos recently in almost 8 months of me just talking about things that are on my mind or things that I'm thinking about or things that I'm reading. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I have my snow tires on and I'm driving to teach one of my class today. And so I've just been thinking about what makes a good student or what makes a good learning environment. And basically, I allude to this a lot when I teach it to my students, especially to my middle schoolers. I used to teach at a public school, and now I basically teach at several after-school programs. I go and teach coding or design or martial art. And what I usually tell them is that the classroom harmonic frequency will dictate the learning environment. And what I mean by that is that let's just say you have two different instruments that plays at two different harmonic frequency. And what happens when that happens, it just makes a lot of noise. But when you have two or three different instruments and they play at the right harmonic frequency, you make beautiful music. And so a lot of times a teacher will come in and especially me, I would observe the students, and students would just keep on talking, and I would watch them, and their body language or their mind, or their mouth just keeps on rambling on and on and on. And I would just sit there quietly and I would watch, and I would see how long it would take them to copy my frequency, my tonality, my body language. And what I notice is that students who have not a lot of awareness, they have a lot of difficulty in learning. And partly because they don't understand the harmonic frequency, how the mind or body are conveying the external environment. And I also especially see that when I teach martial art. For example, I had to kick the student out once about a year ago because he was just so disruptive to my class. He would just throw everyone around, and ironically, he was just some young kid. I mean, he just didn't understand what I was doing, didn't understand what I was trying to convey, asked a lot of pointless questions, tried to do martial art moves that he saw in a movie, just a lot of ridiculous stuff, and he just didn't get it. You know what I mean? If you come to my martial arts school, a lot of times my students will sit in seiza position. I might start doing that for my adult class actually. But in my kids class, my students would sit in seiza position, which is a seated meditation position. And I would just sit quietly and I will wait for all the students to appear. And we might not even talk, or we might have very small, quiet conversation, small talk. And I have taught it to the point now where I have an established core of kids in my children's class that will show up, take off their shoes and socks, and they will get onto the mat and they'll sit quietly and they will wait till the class starts. All right, and there will be children or students who will not understand that. They'll get on the mat, they'll run around, they will grab the equipment and stuff, and I will show them. I said, listen, look at what all the other students are doing. Please sit down and quietly wait. In about 5 to 6 minutes, class will get started. This is your chance to calm your mind and soak in the environment. And students who cannot do that usually have a lot of difficulty learning what I teach them. And so this also goes into the teaching environment that I want to create. So I think it's very important to understand that, to have that harmonic frequency. If you're a teacher or if you run a business, what you want to do is basically in business world, it's about creating a culture, right? But a culture is basically like the tone of the marketing material or the policy or the way the hiring practice, etc. Well, harmonic frequency is a lower level. It's like things you can deal at this moment in time. So the next time you go to a classroom, you will sit quietly or you will talk at a slow rate, and you want to see if the students able to pick that up and if they can reflect that. Okay, now they don't have to copy you exactly, but they will have to like be a musical instrument where they have to be play along with it. You know what I mean? So a drum will play obviously different than a piano, but they can work together as part of an orchestra, right? And that's what That's what happens with a good teaching environment. And so I'll give you examples. I teach at 4 different summer programs, and I would walk in, and within like 5 minutes, I can tell that summer program's well run or not, because the disruption, the chaos, the noise level of the kids just running around, and just like the frequency, like the frequency is just so mumbo jumbo. And what happened? It creates a really bad negative brainwave energy. And so a good example of harmonic frequency is that in a lot of Filipino martial art, when they do a duel or fighting or sparring, they will play the drums. Okay, in the African practice, it's called talking drums. In the Japanese culture, they will hit the Togata drum just to get the people to get ready for practice. All right, and so that's something that I might do. I might start playing certain drumming music or whatever, right? So harmonic frequency is very important also in your daily activity. So I train people to fight, and I had fighters who they look really tough, but they're actually very mentally weak. And the reason why was they didn't understand the frequency they gave out. It was a very nervous frequency. They act really tough, but it was just a very verboso type of energy. I'll give you a couple of examples. I train a couple of fighters, and these guys, it's a title fight, and they will walk around with the audience. Like they'll sit in the audience, they'll chat with their friends. They wouldn't be in the back room getting ready. They wouldn't soak in the energy of the coach and the fighters. They wouldn't take that time to meditate on their mind. A good fighter I train, Evander Russ, he will stay in the room with me. He'll soak up everything. And then when he gets in there, he's ramping up his mind. And so I had one fighter I had to kick out. And basically, the whole entire night, he'll walk around the room. He'll tell everyone he's the main event and he's a title fight, blah, blah, blah. And what happened was just he was soaking in a different type of energy, right? And I think he was doing it for praise. He was doing it maybe to pick up girls. I don't know, but it's not a warrior spirit. Imagine if you watched the movie Gladiator, right? Russell Crowe, if he's going to go in there and get his ass kicked or kill people, or get eaten by lions or kill lions, he's not going to walk around the audience and talk to people and say, hey, I'm a gladiator, watch me, I'm going to go in there and kill a lion. You don't do that, right? And so by the time they go and fight, it's just this nervous energy. And so what happens, they're in the back room with me, maybe 15, 20 minutes later, and I'm trying to get them in the right mindset. And they couldn't do it. They can't do it. They're just mentally weak. And what happened is they try to do it again the next time, and they do the same thing. They're out in the audience talking and stuff, and I tell them, please do not go in the audience, please. And when they do, I ignore them. I say, okay, fine, you want to go to the audience? Fine. I'm going to use this time to train with some of my students, because a lot of times my fighters are the main event. And so I need to get my training time in. So I would just do some grappling or whatever, rolling, because I'm sick of sitting in the back room waiting for half an hour to an hour. And so they don't understand the harmonic frequency or the energy they give out. You know what I mean? So I was telling my students, one of the most important things you can learn in martial art, or the main thing you should learn in martial art, is self-actualization. Actually understanding how you actualize your value, your human being, your full potential. Now, not all of us can express we will all express our human potential to the best of our ability. Some people are more talented than others, right? But we are probably operating at maybe 20% of what we're capable of operating, when in fact you can operate at a very high level if you have the right tool. And a lot of times people don't have the right tool. So going back to these fighters, I train these fighters, and I don't have any tattoos at all. I don't believe in them. I think tattoos are great art, but for me, I don't need tattoos to express who I am as a human being. I express it through, for example, I have cauliflower ears, I have scar tissues on my body and stuff, through my expression of my body moving, through writing. I'm a horrible writer, but through video logs, Instagram, etc. Right? So that's my expression. And anyways, some of these fighters have tattoos like literally covering the whole body, and they walk across very tough and stuff. but their mind's very weak because they did not equip themselves with the right tool, right? And I'm only 5'4", and when I look at them, I go, "Wow, you're very weak." Like if I was the same size as you, which is 6 feet tall and 200 pounds, I'll kick your ass so bad right now that you'll be like a child, you know. And they just not they're not operating at the full maximum capacity, and it's because they're so busy expressing their harmonic frequency incorrectly, you know. I had a fighter I trained, and he had no money, and a promoter begged me to take him in because he got kicked out of the gym, and he thought he was all shit and stuff. And what happened was he came to my gym, he was unemployed and shit like that, and he refused to work out, just refused to work out. The only time he would train is when I'm in front of him holding the mitts or teaching him something, and even then he gets bored, and then he would do the move and he would do it wrong, like completely wrong. And he would like roll his eyes and shit like that, and I tell him, and I have a way of teaching that will ensure success on the day of the fight, and basically I won't give away the secret, but I say, listen, if you don't do this, you're gonna lose. And he tells me, oh, you don't believe in me, this and that, and I think to myself, I believe in you when you have a full arsenal of tools to be a badass. If you don't have an arsenal of tools to be a badass, you're not going to do well, right? And so all his fights, when he trained with me, he took one title fight without asking me first, and I made the mistake of training him for that title fight when I should have negotiated for that title fight or say you're not ready. And for both title fights, literally he got knocked out within 20 seconds, and the hits weren't even clean. Like it glanced his body, and he literally crumbled and fall down. And he was just mentally weak. And I'm not saying he's mentally weak as a person. I'm just saying like he's mentally weak in the sense of he did not have the right tool, you know. And so this allude me to another point. A lot of time people will judge you based on how you carry yourself. And what happened is a lot of people actually judge things incorrectly. The understanding of a subject matter may be very superficial or very narrow or very low level, right? And so a lot of females are impressed by guys who are, tall, or have a lot of tattoos, or have beards and stuff, right? Or drive a muscle car and stuff. And I mean, of course, it's a manifestation. Sometimes you do these things because you are tough, right? But now it's becoming like a fashion statement, it's a style. And so what you have to do is you have to be very careful that you're not a caricature of that manifestation, that fakeness, you know what I mean? To really have a toughness, mental toughness, to really have tools for yourself, there's a lot of long work. It's a long journey. And I was telling one of my students, you gotta enjoy the process, okay? Don't worry about the result. The result will come. And the result is an inverse property or inverse manifestation, or the result is basically what is your process. Now, if I work really hard and I don't have good genetic, my result is what it will be. So we're also limited by Mother Nature. We're limited by we're limited by environment, right? But it does not mean that we cannot have achieve as much tools we can to have that self-actualization, so that we can be the best we can be. And it's a freaking long journey. And if you do not come from a good family, or if you do not come from an environment where you already have legs up, then it's a longer road for you. It's a longer road for you. But it's okay. Learn to accept that. So I'm about 10 minutes away from my class. Hopefully I'll be there on time. What time is it now? Yeah, okay, so I'll be there in about 5-6 minutes, so I'll be there on time. So this is a very unedited video. I'm just gonna upload it, and then maybe a couple days later I'll edit it down. I'll put like subtitles and more explanation, stuff like that. But I want to shoot more videos like this. If you like it, comment or like or thumbs up or whatever. So just a quick recap: harmonic frequency, right? And so I'm thinking maybe what I'll do is, imagine if you give a lecture and like a conductor, or a chorus leader, they will play that little tuning fork, or they'll play that tuning whistle, right? And then everyone has to tune to it. So I might try to find a way to do that where I can get the whole class on board. I definitely would ask my students to sit in Seiza position, probably going forward this class, and we might start meditating for at least 2 minutes. That's something I noticed does not happen in like a lot of modern martial art contexts, like boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, even wrestling. I was a guest instructor at a wrestling club once, and just the organization and the way the student conduct themselves was not the way that a traditional martial art conduct themselves. It was more about like the athletic ability. Um, Same thing when I was observing wrestling clubs being held at my gym. At one time, I rented my gym out to let people have their wrestling practice there. You know. Anyways, super super important to understand how your mind works on a frequency level. So think of your mind working, like expressing radio frequency, like sound waves and stuff like that, and watch the way you interact with people. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just self-actualization involves understanding who you are, and then from there you can actualize yourself. You know who you are, and a lot of times parents think the kids are like angels when in fact the kids are like just horrible, um, in the sense that they don't have a lot of self-awareness. The kids who are bullies, or the kids who give teachers a hard time, are the one who do not really have a good solid understanding of who they are as a human being. They will just ramble on in class, or they will make a lot of noise, or they will create a lot of disruption, and that is not correct harmonic frequency. All right. So the next time, what you should do is when you go pick up your child. Right now, I'm sitting at the school, and a bunch of kids are waiting for the bus to get ready for the bus to pick them up, and I'm observing, and I'm seeing how the kids are conducting themselves, and some kids are very hyperactive, some kids are very mellow, some kids are like pushing each other, stuff like that. And what you want to do is, as a parent, you want to like kind of like when you go pick them up, or when you take them somewhere, or watch how they interact with their friends, watch the harmonic frequency. Just watch, and watch, and you will see a lot of things that can be done better. Anyways, I gotta go and teach my class, and hopefully I'll shoot another video. But the video I'm shooting later will probably be around 5:30, so it's gonna be dark. So I'll talk to you guys later.